And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net, should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our QSO-VLOG network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, fullest sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then going for the adjustments on the EQ. So I started the QSO-VLOG network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 2,000 QSO-VLOG Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. Our mission statement for the network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, trying to get the best coffee from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the other, number 3, is aimed at 134 degrees. In addition, 2 of the 3 may be rotated separately. They are selected by a 6-position rotary selector. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented resonant dipole antenna. One leg of this dipole is broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg is broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube QSO-VLOG video. As we come together for another Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network, let me pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all of our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA-5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history with dark clouds all around, we pray that you will reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this is an area of the band where we have many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate all stations checking into our QSO-VLOG net to keep their bandpass to no wider than 100 to 2900. Again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie, K1GZL, is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim. I sure do. You're coming in direct at 10 dB over S9 directly, as I don't have any accessibility to any SDRs. Temperature outside right now is 12 degrees. The sun is breaking through. Had about an inch and a half of snow early today, or late this morning actually, and the snowfall for the season so far is up to 77 inches. That big storm that's going to hit the coast is going to just barely hit us at all. Maybe 2 or 3 inches up here in northern New Hampshire on the Quebec border. I had a very beautiful contact with Captain Mike yesterday. I picked him up at just north of Cheyenne, Wyoming, about 50 miles at 39,000 feet, and the temperature Fahrenheit was about 55, 60 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. Jim, if you copy, I'll let you talk to Captain. I'll hear Captain Mike. And I also had a fellow in the shack by the name of Wayne. He works with our local power company, Eversource, and they were able to clear up this terrible noise at times I've had on 20 meters, which is a big relief. Jim, do you copy all right? Go ahead.
Roger, Charlie, perfectly. About 35 over on the Milford SDR. And could you share with us what the problem was with the power line noise?
What the problem was with the power line noise?
I'm not sure, but there were many things that were not connected properly in the first place, and grounding was a lot of them, and so on. But here is Captain Mike. Okay, I got a bad connection. Wait a minute. Let me try that again.
Landed it better, to be honest with you. It was picture perfect. We did get that snow. We drove.
Okay, just a second here. All right, I think we should work.
X4 Whiskey Charlie.
Okay.
Charlie, hi, Wayne. And we're just north of Cheyenne here, Charlie. Just coming up north of Cheyenne at 39,000 right now, showing about 500 knots, just under 500 knots. But good copy on year 59 plus. And I wondered, does Wayne have access to internet? Because I know you've never been able to see us in route because you don't have a computer. But I wonder if Wayne has computer internet access from his cell phone there. Why don't you ask Wayne if he does? I don't know if you get any kind of service out there, but he's probably got a cell phone. He might be able to actually find us on there. K1GZL from KX4 Whiskey Charlie. They're around coming up over Joliet there, but okay, well, very good. Well, I'll be listening for you there at 11:30. and I missed Jim. Jim was expecting us on the hour. I know I got a little early here today, but he was expecting us on the hour, so I'll be listening and monitoring. But I'm going to step out here for a little moment here and grab some breakfast here. But nice chatting with you there, Wayne, and hopefully we can fix that line noise, and you guys have a nice day, and try to stay warm. K1GZL from KXO Whiskey Charlie here.
Okay, now that was Captain Mike there. All right, here's Captain Mike in Philadelphia on 40 meters after he had landed, I hope.
Whiskey Charlie, okay, Charlie. We're facing north, upper sideband in Philadelphia. You're 5'9", 59 plus there. Go ahead.
Okay.
We're at the Philly ramp there in Philadelphia there. Go ahead.
Okay, how'd that come through, Jim? KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Was that last one he was saying he was on the ramp? Is that a Roger?
He was saying he was on the ramp. Is that a Roger?
Roger. He was right on the runway. On the ramp. He had just landed. He was on the ramp in Philadelphia, and of course that airport is a little on the south side of the city of Philadelphia. But he was well over S9 on 40 meters. Go ahead.
Roger. We're very clean, and congratulations to solving the line noise problem up that way.
Well, it was a great relief. Believe me, it was a great relief, Jim. Here you are.
We're at the Philly ramp there in Philadelphia there. Go ahead.
Solving the line noise problem up that way.
Okay, there it is. So, Jim, look, I won't hold it too long. You may have a lot of people who would like to work you there, and I've got to go out and get more snow off the roof here before it gets dark. And I've been neglecting to do that, although I've got my energy really back from that heart replacement, the valve, which was about 3 months ago. They had to do that down in Roxbury, Massachusetts, about 20 miles west of downtown Boston. So that is a great relief. So we'll try to catch you next week, barring everything. We will try to catch you next week, and you're coming in very well. KC9VKV, and this is K1GZL, Clarksville, Northern New Hampshire.
Roger, Charlie, 73 up that way, sir. Thank you so much for the excellent reports on Captain Mike. Really sound good. I was concerned there for a moment that you might have needed a larger sledgehammer to get things underway, but finally everything came out copacetic. So 73, Charlie. Catch you later. And just a reminder, this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we are recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio that you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call it or search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. And that will take you to our YouTube QSO-VLOG page, where we're currently featuring over 2,000 QSO-VLOG Aircheck recordings. And this recording will be cut number 1 in that series. So there you go. And this is Jim, and we're ready now to get things underway. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
This is Whiskey 8, X-Ray Zulu.
Whiskey 8 station, come back slowly phonetically with a call sign.
Whiskey 8 station, come back slowly phonetically with a call sign.
Yes, this is Whiskey 8, X-Ray Zulu. Handle is Dan, located just 25 miles north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I just purchased one of these BM800 microphones that I hear starting to proliferate the band, and I have it connected to an IC7300,
I was wondering if you could give me a report on the audio on this microphone. Go ahead.
Roger, Dan. Sounds good. The thing is, you might want to work a little closer, Mike, because I'm hearing your walls. You know, so you come a little bit closer. About 3 or 4 inches is ideal. That way it'll minimize any room echo. And try her again. Let me hear you.
Room echo. And try her again. Let me hear you.
Okay, very fine. This is Whiskey 8 X-Ray Zulu. I do have the microphone closer to me. The microphone is quite hot, the way it works, and what you're hearing, I do believe too, is the fan on the radio there, and I did move it closer, so I'm about 4 inches away. Now, how's this sounding?
It sounds a lot better. You might be interested in our setup procedure. We could just review a couple of things. Our setup begins with engaging your compressor at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does exactly what we need it to do to get our fattening going there. So if you'd be interested, it would be compressor on and add a 3. Roger?
It would be compressor on and add a 3. Roger?
Very fine. I had it set at 2. I now have it set at 3. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Now we move to the ALC with mic gain in hand. And as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC meter by way of mic gain manipulation.
On the ALC meter by way of mic gain manipulation.
Yes, sir. We'll do that. I may be a little high on that. I'm setting at 30%. Whoops. Let me get this set.
Okay, my gain is now set at 25%. That is coming up a good 2/3. Maybe that's still a little too much. How are we sounding there now?
Well, Dan, I think you might have hit your VFO. Come back to 7188 and put lock on. Come back to 7188 and put your lock on. Good idea anytime you're engaged a longer than hello, goodbye, QSO. Roger?
Engaged a longer than hello, goodbye, QSO. Roger?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't figure out what had happened. I moved my hand, and I did indeed touch it, and I certainly apologize for that. Now it's setting at 25%, and it is coming up not quite as far. It is coming up a little bit more. 2/3, just a little bit more than that.
Roger, Roger. Well, my good folks at Milford decided to kick me off on that. I think we're back on now. For some reason, I had a slight malfunction on my Milford SDR, but it's back now. So, okay, we're back to setting the level on the on your ALC. So you bring your ALC meter up with mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly to get that meter to reflect accurately what's going on, 100, 200, 300, 400, adjust the mic gain until your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger, I'm looking at it now. I'm actually bringing it down. I am down to 20% right now. And normal verse, that's a voice, that's where it's coming up to. Half to about 2/3, and again, I'm at 20% on the mic gain and 3 on the compression. How are we sounding now?
Yes, sir, sounding pretty good. The actual setting of the mic gain is not important. The thing is what the mic gain does as affects the ALC. So the main thing is getting that ALC to read mid-scale to 2/3. What the actual reading of the mic gain is really not important. Roger?
What the actual reading of the mic gain is really not important. Roger?
Okay, very fine. Well, that's what we're doing now, half to 2/3. And I did pull away maybe an inch, so I'm still a good 4 inches away from the microphone. And it's sitting right now just right exactly where you're recommending. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm still catching a little bit of noise, room noise, wall noise, echo, reverb in the room. Try coming just a little bit closer. See if we can get that signal a little more first-hand as opposed to in the next room. Roger?
More first-hand as post in the next room. Roger?
Okay. Roger, I'll tell you something else I had here. I do have a light here on my desk that makes a hum to it, and I'm so used to it. I think possibly that's what you were hearing because it is near the microphone. And right now the fan on the radio is also making some noise now. But I did turn that light lamp off to take care of that part of the hum. This is Whiskey 8, X-Ray Zulu for ID.
Roger, Dan, it's not hum I'm hearing, sir. It's reverb off the walls. Just out of curiosity, on my sake, if you would come right up on mic like about an inch away or 2 inches away, let me hear that, Roger.
Like about an inch away or 2 inches away. Let me hear that, Roger.
Roger, yeah, that's where I am right now, about an inch away from it. Go ahead.
Roger, okay, you are nice and personal right at that point, so come back about 3 inches, just about 3 inches away from the mic, and let me hear you there.
About 3 inches, just about 3 inches away from the mic, and let me hear you there.
All right, sir, this is Whiskey 8, X-Ray Zulu. Handle is Dan. I'm located 25 miles north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, Dan. Well, you have a fairly active room reverberation there, so I would recommend you working that mic where you were just that time last transmission, or maybe just a little bit closer, and that way you will have less reverberation in your audio. It sounds a lot cleaner when you're, do not have the room reverberation. Roger?
Do not have the room reverberation. Roger?
Roger. Well, thank you very much. I am working closer to the microphone now. This microphone, I am trying to set it up. I've spoken to you before just simply using the hand mic on this 7300 and was getting better reports, so maybe this microphone is not going to match up. I have guys using this microphone. I don't think I'm going to be one of those. Go ahead.
Oh, I think you will. I think it's a matter of EQ now. You know, the hand mic that was supplied with the 7300 is just an exceptional device that really sets that radio off just beautifully. It just does such a magnificent job. You really are actually challenged to come up with a better mic situation, when you do pull that hand mic off. But we can go to EQ. If you can go to your EQ page, and we'll sprinkle some magic dust on there and see what that does.
We'll sprinkle some magic dust on there and see what that does.
All right, that'll be fine. Just 1 second. Okay, I am sitting here now on the radio. I'm sitting here at the page where I can set treble and bass.
Alrighty, so that's a 2-band EQ. So what are your readings at the present moment?
And EQ, so what are your readings at the present moment?
Presently, the transmitter is +1 on the bass and +3 on the treble.
Alrighty, I would suggest moving all the way up +5 on the treble and down to flat on the bass. Plus 2 or 3, whatever it takes to get to 5 on the treble EQ boost, and back the bass down to ±0. Roger?
Down to ±0. Roger?
Roger. I was able to do that immediately, and that's exactly where I am now. Bass is set at 0, treble is set at +5. Go ahead.
Alrighty, and why don't you tell me a little bit about your antenna system for about 10 seconds or so.
Antenna system for about 10 seconds or so.
I sure will. I modified G5 RV antenna. My radio is putting 100 watts into it. I do not have an amplifier. And the antenna situation, I'm in an HOA. It is not as high and as well laid out as I would certainly prefer.
Roger, Dan. Well, I've got you now on my local receiver, which is good down to, the receiver's good down to 100 cycles. My monitor system is good down to 50 cycles. And so why don't you go back to that +1 on your bass and let me hear that. Roger?
Roger, Roger. We're set up there with the +1 on it right now, and still at +5 on the triple.
Alrighty. Sounds really good. Now, the thing is, you do have a very active room for your Radio Shack, so you do need to work tight mic like you are. But the problem is that you're now picking plosives up. So I think what you really need to do is to get a foam windscreen on that microphone so you can work it close and not have the impulse noises and plosives. Roger?
Roger, I do have one here that I can put on it, which would only take a few minutes, so I would be glad to go ahead and do that. I don't want to take all of your time. If you'd want, you could move on to somebody else, and I'll look at putting the screen on, and in the future give you a call back. Go ahead.
Roger, well, I mean, if it wouldn't take more than, a minute or so, we could probably hang out, because, I'm sure that will solve all of your problems right there. You can work that mic, within a half an inch with that foam windscreen. Roger? So I'll just hold it here while you get that foam windscreen and apply it to your microphone. Folks, really important, when you work a mic 3 inches or closer, you're probably going to want to have a foam windscreen on that microphone, ideally. Of course, you can do whatever you do, but for just perfection, that foam windscreen solves so many problems. It just is the main filter for your radio. It takes out all of the mouth noises and all of the sounds that you don't want to make, and just lets the words go through. It's just amazing. Alrighty, Dan, how about it, sir?
Okay, I do have the phone screen on. Like you said, I had it really very handy, and I am close to the mic. I wonder if this is helping me out there.
Yes, sir. My local level is kind of coming and going. I'm going to switch over now to Milford. It's still up pretty well. And tell me in 10 seconds or so the thing you like best about your radio.
Well, I'll tell you, historically, I've not had very many radios, even though I was first licensed in 1963. I bought this 7300 here 2 years ago, replacing a Kenwood TS440, which I bought in 1986. I do very much like the new technology of it, and I would imagine it would be very doubtful I'll ever buy another radio sitting here at 75 years old. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, you have one of the better radios in the world. That 7300 is just an excellent radio. So probably no need to buy another radio. You keep that windscreen on the microphone, and you sound like $1 million, Roger.
You sound like $1 million, Roger.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I've heard some excellent signals with amateurs having this VM800 microphone connected to 7300, both from here and have pile-ups on them. People wanting to know what in the world microphone or radio they were using. So I thought, I don't buy much gear. I thought, for $45, I would give it a try. And maybe it sounds like we're getting, with your expert help, seems like we're getting this set up. So it's sounding pretty good. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. That microphone is fairly linear through the mid-frequencies and does have a little roll-off on the top end, so I'm assuming it is a dynamic microphone, and that's why we +5 the treble to increase the top end to match the mid-range, so it does sound really beautiful. Now, we could add a little bit more on the bottom end, but the thing is, folks forget about phase cancellation. Sometimes Mother Nature does not bend all of the signal back to Earth at one point. Sometimes it's a couple of points different, and so there is a time difference, and it comes down top end out of phase slightly, and there goes your treble EQ. And so if you have a very full bottom end, when you lose the top end, you sound like Mr. Bassman. So for that reason, I don't really push the bottom end too much. Mainly get that top end up. Roger?
Roger, that sounds very good. Oh, and another point to mention to you, I do have the transmit put on wide, Typically I was running on narrow, and it was suggested that I put it on wide, and it is sitting on wide right now. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. That's the preferred operation, a wide. Because the thing is, when you stop, when you pull down the, to lesser transmit frequencies like 200 to 2700 or 20, whatever, you start losing that top end in your audio. And the top end of the audio is all of the articulation for understanding. So you want to keep that top end just as clean as you can, and that means running that radio at 100 to 2900. Roger?
At 100 to 2900, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Well, that's where we are. Well, I just started using it here yesterday or the day before. I got it hooked up, and the problem I was having that other amateurs telling me they could hear a hiss in it. And I put it over to the scope and turned it over, put it on dummy load, and not saying anything. Pushed the talk on it, and you could see on the scope of it hiss and stuff going over it, and that's what they were hearing at that time.
Roger. Well, I'm not sure, what all that's about. The first thing is you got to figure out at what level they're copying you. If they're copying you at something at over 20 decibel, 20 dB over S9, then they need to put their antenna attenuate in or whatever, because once you pass 20 over S9, lots of crazy things are going to happen. So you expect weird things at signals hotter than 20 over S9. Roger?
Signals hotter than 20 over S9. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. Well, that makes a lot of sense also. So I'll tell you what, if you don't have any further suggestions, I'll sign so somebody else could give you a call. What say you there?
Yes, sir, that's fine. Dan, appreciate you dropping by. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 of 2,000 Aircheck recordings. Roger?
2,000 Aircheck recordings. Roger?
Roger, thank you so very much. I feel much more confident in this, and we'll give it a try here over the next several days. This is Whiskey 8 X-Ray Zulu, saying 73, and thank you very much, Bob.
Roger. Name is Jim, Juliet India Mike. 73, Dan, have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Alpha Charlie. November 3, Sierra Victor Bravo.
November 3 station, come back slowly phonetically with the call sign.
Come back slowly phonetically with the call sign.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. It's November 3, Sierra Victor Bravo, and we're in southern Delaware.
Yes, sir. Sierra Victor Bravo. And what is the name right there, Roger?
And what is the name right there, Roger?
Name here is Keith, Kilo Echo India Tango Hotel, and I would be very happy to have an audio opinion. It would be quite helpful.
Yes, sir. Keith, what radio are you running, sir?
Yes, sir, Keith. What radio are you running, sir?
It's a Flex 6400, and we're running average about 700 watts.
Roger, Keith. Well, our setup procedure starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. It's a token amount, but it does just what we need it to do. So, if you're interested in getting a little fatter there, compressor on and at a 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. Roger?
3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. Roger?
Okay, very good, Roger. I've done that now. Has a noticeable difference?
Well, let's move on with the setup. Now go to bring your ALC meter up with the mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, to get that meter to be able to see it. With mic gain, adjust that meter to where you're running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
You're running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
will do. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. How's that right there?
Yes, sir. Now you have a 3 dB dynamic range. Let's move to your equalization page.
Let's move to your equalization page.
Okay, we're there.
Alrighty. I'm assuming that's like an 8-band EQ, Roger?
Assuming that's like an 8-band EQ, Roger?
That's correct.
All right. We want everything flat from, say, 500 cycles or 400 cycles up to 1.2K. Everything in that EQ flat from 400 cycles to 1.2K. Roger?
Cycles to 1.2K, Roger?
Okay, I'm in the process of that right now. Let's see, pretty close there. I have to slide them all down to the center here, so I think we're about there. Hold on, 100, 200, 300, pretty close. 400, 500. Okay, how's that right there?
Yes, sir. So on your EQ, you have everything flat from 400 cycles to 1.2K. Now, what is the first one after, the first one higher than 1.2K?
One higher than 1.2K.
Let's see here. First one higher. It goes in steps like this. 63 hertz, 125, 250, 500, 1K, 2K, 4K, and 8K. So I'm assuming you want me to step up above the 1K a little bit.
Yeah, no. You leave your 1K flat. Go to your 2K plus 3. 2K plus 3, Roger?
3. 2K plus 3, Roger?
Okay, Roger, there's 2K plus 3.
Roger, now go to 4K plus 5 and and we'll see what you sound like.
5 and we'll see what you sound like.
Okay, QSL, there's 4K plus 5.
Alrighty, take 4K plus 3 more. 4K plus 7, I guess now, Roger?
Plus 7, I guess now, Roger?
QSL is 4K plus 7 right there.
Alrighty, go to your 2K and bring that up 2 more clicks, Roger.
And bring that up 2 more clicks, Roger.
Roger, there we are, 2 more clicks on the 2K.
Alrighty, and what is the top possibilities of your boost? Is it 10 clicks or 15?
10 clicks or 15?
Hold on, I'm not sure. 7, 8, 9, 10 is the top. I'll put that 4K back to 7 where we had it. 10 is the top.
Alrighty, and give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system. Now, it's really important that you stay on axis to the microphone because we're, trying to get that EQ up there. And so if you stay, kind of on that mic as much as you can, Roger?
As much as you can, Roger?
Okay, Roger. Well, I'm about 10 inches, 12 inches away from it. It's a Behringer mic. It's nothing special. The antenna is, this case, I'm on the high gain. This is the end-fed wire, 123 feet long right now.
Already, I just had a chance to go to the Arlington SDR, and Arlington is one of the few SDRs that actually has a frequency response to 100 cycles. The rest of these SDRs roll off at about 250 cycles or so, but Arlington hangs in there down to 100, so your bottom end is nice. That top end, I still would like to get a little more articulation, so that top one, that 4K, boosted it plus 2 more clicks. Boost 4K 2 more, and let's see where it goes.
4K 2 more, and let's see where it goes.
Okay, QSL, there we are. 2 more clicks. We're at 9 right now.
All right, now just out of curiosity, I'm hearing a kind of a clash when you first key in. So if you would now key in without saying anything, key in for about 3 seconds and let me hear you.
Key in for about 3 seconds and let me hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, that compressor seems pretty hot for just a 3. It seems really hot for just a 3, so maybe pull that down to a 1. That's unusual, Roger.
To a 1. That's unusual, Roger.
Okay, QSL, I pulled it down to a 1, and here's 3 seconds of silence. There we go.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Before it was really heavy into your first key in. It was at minus 4 decibels below operating level, so it's pretty hot, compressed. It was expanded when you first keyed in, and so that made it apparent. So I think where you are now is better. Now what we need to do probably is go back to your ALC and double check your mid-scale to 2/3 readings, Roger.
Your mid-scale to 2/3 readings, Roger.
Okay, I can do that. However, I don't use ALC, and it's actually turned off.
Can you use it as a reference?
Can you use it as a reference?
Say that again. I didn't catch it.
I'm not sure. Why are you not running with your ALC?
Why are you not running with your ALC?
The amplifier doesn't require it, and the way Flex recommends using ALC isn't compatible with this amplifier, so we don't use it.
I see. Well, I don't want to get into the middle of it between your amplifier and your radio and Flex and all that, but let me just say that the ALC is the limiter in your transmitter. And while your amplifier may not need the ALC, your radio, usually most folks run the ALC to protect from splattering and all kinds of stuff. So the normal operation would be the ALC on, and I'm just saying,
ALC on, and I'm just saying,
Okay, QSL, I see what you're saying. Well, I was just reading an article about that from Flex, so I'm trying to educate myself a little bit on how they're managing the ALC as well. So there may be some adjustments here that I don't know about, but at this point, that's what I know.
Yes, sir. Well, we've all got to do what we've got to do, but I'm just saying that the normal operation of a HF transceiver involves running their ALC. They don't have an option of not running the ALC. That ALC is there, and it is designed to prevent problems, adjacent channel splatter and stuff like that. So, and what we use it for is a slight bit of limiting compression, actually, to achieve our 3 dB dynamic range. And without that, we would have problems. So, I'm just saying, and like normally the ALC would be on, and we'd be adjusting mid-scale to 2/3 on that. Without the ALC being there, you got to follow your own course, Roger.
You got to follow your own course, Roger.
Okay, I got you. I understand that. Well, I'm not sure what we would do from here then, but I appreciate what we're trying.
Roger, now, I was just looking at your audio, and you do have a 3 dB dynamic range, so you're telling me right at the moment, Keith, that your ALC is off, Roger?
That your ALC is off, Roger?
Well, it's off to my knowledge. I can't see anything that says it's on. Let's put it that way.
Roger. Well, I'm just dumbfounded as to how you could possibly have a 3 dB dynamic range without some limiting going on there, which is usually furnished by the ALC. Whatever. You really sound good. Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
You really sound good. Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Well, okay, I can accept that, but I appreciate the tune-up here anyway. It was helpful. Very different on my TX EQ than what I had.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the whole thing is being able to understand what something says. It's one thing to be heard. It's another thing to be understood. And sometimes when you're in heavy QRM problems or, you're contesting and you got 1,000 people down your neck, you want to be understood and make it as easy as possible for somebody to understand what you're saying. So that's what our setup is all about. We get you as loud as possible without blurring the words. So, there's nothing worse than blurred words. So we do not blur the words, and we try to EQ pattern the words to where they're at their best articulation point. Roger?
At their best articulation point, Roger.
Okay, Roger, I understand that. And I was listening to some of your previous QSOs there and was kind of learning as we were going there. So, all right, well, I really appreciate it. If you say it's okay, I'm good with that, and I do appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Keith. Well, let me say 73, sir. And, gosh, if you... do further inquiries with Flex. I'm really curious how they could possibly run a radio without AOC. And if you find out the secret to that, let me know, Roger.
Find out the secret to that, let me know, Roger.
Okay, will do. I'll listen on here. You on here the same time every day? Is that the plan?
No, sir, we're only on Fridays. We do a Friday afternoon QSO from 3:30 till 5 and record all the time. Then we post it up on YouTube. So if you'd like to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 of 2,000 QSO-VLOG recordings, and we'll have it posted by tomorrow at noon.
Posted by tomorrow at noon.
Okay, I'll try and follow up with that. That sounds interesting. It'll be interesting to hear it. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll say 73s to you, and have a great afternoon, and hopefully we'll stop by next Friday. So have a good one. And 3S3B clear.
Roger, Keith, 73, sir. Have a good afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Alpha Charlie, Alpha.
Station ending in Alpha, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Alpha, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Alpha Charlie, Niner, Papa Alpha.
Papa Alpha, Roger, and what's the name there?
Papa Alpha, Roger, and what's the name there?
The name is Byron, and we spoke earlier this month, and this is the old R4C Drake with the T4XC transmitter, and we added a EQ Plus audio box to it.
Alrighty, well, you got plenty of top-end EQ for sure. You might want to consider maybe a little bit on the bottom side. Is that an 8-band?
Bottom side? Is that an 8-band?
No, it's not. It is the EQ compression, downward expander, and a little reverb.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I was just switching locations there. I'm on my local antenna. I've got a very good copy on my local antenna. So is that a 3-band, 2-band? What is that?
I guess you just call it 2-band. The EQ Plus, it just has bass and treble control, also compression, downward expander, and it does have a reverb position also.
Yes, sir. Well, you've got your dynamic range fairly well squared away there. You look to be about 2.5 dB dynamic range, which might be just a tad warmer than what we normally would suggest. But on the EQ side, you're mostly upper mids. So if you would crank, if you're interested in extending your frequency range a little bit, if you would crank in your bottom end EQ 2 clicks, let's see where it goes.
All right, we raised the bass there a little bit. Yeah, this is an EQ Plus made by W2IHY, And I just put it on this old Drake because it was very high pitched before, and hopefully this right here has added some bass to it.
Not much. Give me 2 more clicks bass. I'm looking at your signal on the spectrum analyzer, Roger, and I'm looking on my local receiver is good to 100 cycles. My audio monitor system is good down to 50 cycles. So try plus 2 more clicks to the bottom end.
All right, we added some more bass to it. We were talking in a Electro Voice RE20 microphone, and we have one of these little socks on top of it, and we're right up against the sock.
That'd be the foam windscreen, Roger?
Roger, that is the foam sock over the top of it.
Alrighty, so you're still pretty much upper mids. Can you give me 2 more clicks bottom end? You're still rolling out at about 300 cycles, Roger?
Roger, yeah, it could be the filters in this old radio. I'm not sure. We're at the 3 o'clock position. I think wide open on the base here is 5 o'clock, I believe. It could be 6, but it's getting close to maxed out.
Yeah, well, it's, I don't know, you must be using a D104. That requires that much bottom. I'm joking. But your bottom end is starting to sound better now, Roger.
Roger, okay, well, I just turned the bass all the way up, and I don't know if that made any difference this time or not. Yeah, well, this radio has always had a issue of being high-pitched. It's always been pretty good for DX, the radio, that is, and like I said, this is an RE20 microphone. They're pretty flat response, I believe.
Yes, they're extremely flat. So somewhere in that radio they have undersized, is that a tube radio, Roger?
Roger, yes, it is a tube radio. I can turn down the treble some if you think that might help.
Oh, no, never. never. Rolling off, gosh, no. We're fighting for everything we can get on the top end. Matter of fact, I'm trying to see if, I'm not sure, like, when you boost that treble, how much of the mids you're pulling with it, trying to get up to, say, 4KC or so. But try that top end boost a couple of more clicks, and let me see how much mid-range comes with you.
Okay, well, that right there, that's all the bass we have, and I don't know, there might not be much we can do with this old tube-type radio there. It's always been, pretty high-pitched. I do have a compressor, and there is a little reverb action we can do, but that's about it.
Yeah, with no reverb. Compressor would be like about a third of its capabilities, about 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100, somewhere in there, Roger?
Roger, that's, it might be just slightly above a third right now, just slightly.
So I would pull that back down because, a 3 is the same thing as a 6 without the suck-up. It really is. I mean, if you're talking about something that's actually working on the words, a 3 would do as much as a 6 without the suck-up between the words, Roger?
Roger. That right here is just about a third, and the bass, I could add an 8-band graphic equalizer to this. They're not that much more, and if you think it might help the audio.
No, I would run it like that. I was just curious if you managed to give me those extra 2 click treble boosts.
That right there is the treble all the way up.
All right, and give me about 10 seconds on what you like best about your radio.
I like all the knobs. This old Drake has a whole lot of knobs. We're using the dipole set up for 160 meters right here with a ladder line, and going through an old Tech tuner.
Yes, sir, roger that. Now, I would like for you to go back to your ALC and double-check your level. We've done some pretty extensive EQ stuff, and anytime you do that, you need to go back and double-check your ALC levels. So back to ALC with mic gain in hand, speaking rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust mic level for mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC.
Well, this happens to be one of those old radios that doesn't have an ALC. It really doesn't. It does from the amplifier. If I was running the amplifier, I could run ALC back into the transmitter, but this one doesn't have an adjustable ALC. It made before that day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. I would pull your mic gain down just ever so slightly. Just ever so slightly. Roger?
Hey, Roger. I turned down the mic gain there a little bit. That hold about an 1/8 inch on the controller.
Oh, sounds like $1 million. Just beautiful. Absolutely. Get the Gorilla Tape out and tape her down. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call out, a search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you directly to this recording. It will be cut number 1 of 2,000 QSO-VLOG recordings. Roger?
Hey, Roger. Well, thank you very much. And you have a good Friday here and a good weekend also. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of snow here in Illinois. Anyway, 73. Thank you very much. AC9PA clear.
Roger, Roger, Byron, 73, sir. Have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
69 Kilo Charlie Whiskey. 69 Kilo Charlie Whiskey.
The station ending in whiskey. Come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Yes, it's Whiskey 9 Kilo Charlie Whiskey.
Kilo Charlie Whiskey. Roger, what's the name?
Name here's Tony. Tango Oscar November Yankee.
Roger, Tony, and where are you, sir?
Yes, just want to check the audio on this. I've got a Yaesu FT DX101 with the MD100 and just trying to get the audio set up to us out.
Oh, yes, sir. You are pretty low, so let's go through the setup. Starts with your engaging your compressor at a 3. 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100, a third of the compressor capabilities. Roger?
Okay, compressor is on now. I have the processor on.
Alrighty, and it's at a 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. Roger?
And what do you mean 33 out of 10 here?
Okay, the input level to the compressor. Do you have a knob or something where you can tell how much the input level to the compressor is, Roger?
Yeah, let me check here.
In other words, it would probably say, when you got it on, it would probably say compressor 3 or compressor 6 or whatever that means, the input level to the compressor. We want to put it on a 3. Roger? Okay, so that's a Roger. Your compressor's engaged and at a 3. Is that a Roger? Okay, let's move to your ALC meter with mic gain in hand. And as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC meter by way of mic gain manipulation.
Okay, 1, 2, 2, and 3.
And Tony, you have to speak fairly rapidly in order to be able to read that meter. In other words, if you go 1, 2, 3, the meter never has a chance to come up and accurately display what it's reading. So as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain until the ALC is reading mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, 100, 200, 300, 100, 200, 300, 400.
Yeah, so you started there probably at about -15, so your level is coming up quite a bit. Continue on. I don't think you've quite reached your 3 dB dynamic range, which happens at when you're mid-scale to 2/3. So come on and adjust a little bit more on your mic gain and look at your ALC meter from mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, here we go. Audio test 100, 200, 300. See where I'm at here.
Right, you might be catching some background modulation there that's not helping you.
Okay, how's that right there?
All right.
Alrighty, why don't you tell me in 10 seconds, tell me about your antenna system and let me look at your audio.
Okay, yep, the antenna system here is a double bazooka. We have a double bazooka up about 40 feet in the air, feeding it with some LMR 400 and running the Yaesu FT-DX101 with the MD100 microphone, and that is the current setup at this time.
Roger, Tony, I'm catching a little bit of, sounds like you might be getting some RF in your audio. Sounds like you might be getting some RF in your audio. What kind of power are you running at the moment?
Right now at the moment we're running about 5 to 600 watts.
Yes, sir. I would move the mic downriver from the power amp. Try to get as far away from the power amp as you can, and let me hear you, Roger.
Okay. Did that help? How's that right there?
Still have RF in your audio. I would suggest, how close is your power amp to your radio?
The amp is about 3 feet, about 3 to 4 feet from the radio.
Alrighty. How much SWR do you are you running on that antenna? Before you do your antenna tuner.
About a 2 to 1.
Yeah, sounds like you might have some RF straying around in your Radio Shack. Thing would be, what kind of grounding system do you have?
Yeah, I have a short ground going out braided. It is a copper flat cable coming off the back of everything in the shack here, going out about 4 feet to a steel pole right outside the window here that is in the ground.
Roger. Are you on the ground floor? Are you second floor or what?
Yes, I'm on the ground floor. I had a big problem the other day. I had some cable that was ran next to the ground, and I was getting a lot of problems there. And that ground wire was flat cable was picking up RF off the cable itself. So I'm trying to get this shack set up, and someone earlier told me they thought I had some RF in here. So I'm trying to figure out where it's at, or if I need to do some regrounding.
Yeah, I would reground myself. Now, what I do, I use old RG8 for my ground leads. RG8 in its round normal state looks like about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch pipe, because the RF is flowing on the outside of the shield. So I just use RG8 and run it for the ground. And in your case, I think I would run 2 grounds. I would run one ground specifically for the power amp, and I would run a second ground for everything else, and I would keep them separate. Roger?
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm going to do that. I'm going to work on that, because I've got to get that RF out of here before I can move any further. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I'll get in there and work on that so I can get this RF out of here, and then we can move forward from there. Thank you very much. We'll start on that this afternoon from W9KCW.
Yes, sir. Now, in the meantime and in between time, if you happen to have a hand mic around, I think you could probably be in the clear on a hand mic if you happen to have one.
Yeah, let me go grab that because I had the hand mic on here before I just put this MD100. So let me grab that. I'll be right back with you.
Yes, sir. I think you will be clean with the hand mic because usually, you know, it's you're getting RF into the most vulnerable point, which is the microphone, because the microphone is 50 dB down and has to be amplified up. A hand mic is going to be a little warmer, a little hotter output than a desk mic, and so there's less opportunity to pick up stray RF. So we'll just see where that goes. RF can be particularly difficult to track down. I had some problems. Well, RF always is a problem. When you run power, you have to control it. And the first thing is you have to be able to see where it is. And I said, my God, if I could just see where the RF was, I could figure out how to get rid of it. And lo and behold, has something come along. It's called a field strength meter. Used to be in old CV days, you know, you can use one of those, has a little telescopic antenna. This dude is just perfect for finding random RF lobes, and you can just use it to sniff around your place and find out exactly where that RF is, and then you know when you got rid of it, because it will cease to register on the meter.
Okay. Okay, real good. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm seeing a lot of, I'm running a scope here on the, on my audio, on the, here at the shack, and I can see on the scope it looks a lot better with this hand mic.
Well, it may, but it doesn't sound that much better. Now, I'll tell you what, why don't you, just as an experiment, collapse that microphone coil as close as you can to the radio, and just let me hear it with the coil not extended.
Okay, there we are right there.
That's a little bit better. So that tells me that the RF is moving on the mic input circuit there. Again, all right, then try moving as far away with that hand mic as you can from the power amp and stretch that coil out. Maybe you can get 5-6 feet away from the power amp and let me hear you.
Okay, yep, now we're quite a bit further away from the power amp, probably 5 or 6 feet away from it.
Yeah, same thing. So, like I say, I think maybe 2 ground systems. One ground system just for the power amp and the well, do you run a separate antenna tuner, or do you use the internal radio antenna tuner?
I run a separate tuner.
All right, so I would put the power amp and the antenna tuner and the antenna selector, if you have a switch box with multiple antennas. I would put all those on one ground and then everything else on the other ground. I'm assuming that you're not running a outboard audio preamp or anything, Roger?
Roger, no, just running the FTDX101 AL80B amplifier, and I do have the Meritron ATR30 3K tuner, and I do have the DVI display on a monitor up above in front of me.
Yeah, Roger. Now, okay, on the antenna lead, does the antenna lead cross back into behind your radio, or does it move to a right angle away from your radio?
It moves to the right, away from my radio. It is actually going from the radio over to the right to the amplifier, from the amplifier back to the left in the center to the tuner, and then from the tuner it outboards and goes straight down through the basement outdoors.
Okay, I would put that antenna tuner to the right of your power amp. You know, trying to move stuff as far as you can away from your radio. So, you know, if it's just a matter of, I mean, if your jumper's long enough just to move your antenna tuner to the right of your power amp away from your radio. Roger?
Okay. We'll start with that. We'll definitely give that a try. And you got a wonderful audio, great signal here in southwest Indiana. Name is Tony, Tango Oscar, November Yankee. And your audio signal is great here in Indiana. But we'll start with that, some regrounding, and see if we can get this eliminated.
Yes, sir. Now, the thing is, what you want to do is you want to use, what I use is what's called split bolts. Split bolts are big bolts with a bolt with a split in it and a nut, and you put your wires in between where the split is on the nut and on the bolt, and then you tighten the nut up. So on your power amp side, you would have a lead from your power amp, you would have a lead from your antenna tuner, and you would have an antenna lead or ground lead from your switch box if you have one of those. Bring both of those or three of those into your ground lead and use a split bolt. Tie all those together at once. There's no other way that you can actually get an absolute center point for your ground, multiple grounds, than with a split bolt. Some folks say, use that long copper tube pipe in back of your radio. But what happens is you're spreading those grounds out, and there are wavelengths involved there. So when you use a split bolt, all of those grounds come together at one central point. That's what you want. And for your radios, on your radio side, whatever it might be, bring all those ground leads together in one point and put that split bolt connection to your ground transmission line. Roger?
Roger. Okay, we'll do that. I do have several of those split bolts that fit through this flat braided ground flat cable that I have, and I'll get all those taken care of and split up and see where we can get at with it.
Yes, sir. And I'm thinking maybe that the RG8 might even do a better job than the flat shield. You might try that, if it's all the same and you have some extra old RG8, use it for ground transmission line. Roger?
Yes, Roger, yep. We sure do. I have enough of it to use, and I'm going to keep it short and put a separate ground rod out there and get it all tied into that separate ground rod and maybe that steel pipe and see if we can eliminate it.
Yes, sir. And make sure that your two grounds are like at least 6 feet apart. Otherwise, they're going to really couple together. So, and you don't want that. So, make sure your grounds are at least 6 foot apart. And like I say, one ground for your amp and your antenna tuner and whatever else you have on the high power side, and then another ground for your radio and whatever else you might have on the radio side. So, with that, Tony, whereabouts are you in Indiana?
We are just a little bit east of Evansville, Indiana. So we're in a very southwestern corner of the state, QSO.
Roger, we're down around Louisville. I'm on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. So let me say 73, Tony, and gosh, I'll let you get to work on that. And if you get a chance, give me a shout back next Friday between 3:30 and 5, and we'll see how you're doing, Roger.
Okay, we sure will. We'll get in here and appreciate the help very much. And 73s, have a good weekend from Whiskey 9 Kilo Charlie Whiskey.
Roger, Tony 73, sir. And if you want to hear your audio, as painful as it may be, you might want to hear it. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 of 2,000 some odd QSO-VLOG recordings. So 73 Tony, we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Alpha Bravo 7,
Kilo 4, Mike Alpha.
Alpha Bravo 7 station, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Alpha Bravo 7, Hotel Zulu. The name here is George. Over.
Roger, George. I see George. And George, whereabouts are you, sir?
We're located in South Alabama. Over.
And what radio are you running, George?
I am running the ICOM IT7300.
Roger, 7300. Okay, George, why don't you give me about 10 seconds, tell me about your antenna, and let me look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger?
Roger, my antenna is...
Find a better path for us, Roger.
Roger, my antenna is an inverted V dipole. It's up about 24 feet, and it's really acclimated more north and south than any other direction. Over.
Roger, Roger. Okay, I found you 20 over in Georgia, so I have an excellent copy on you. So tell me now something about your radio that you really like for about 10 seconds.
Something about your radio that you really like for about 10 seconds.
Well, my radio's a whole lot smarter than I am, and getting back into the hobby after a hiatus with the kids and everything after 24 years, then, but it really has done well, and it's very forgiving. Over.
Yes, sir. Sounds really good. We could maybe improve it, check a couple of things. Our setup procedure starts with the compressor engaged at a 3, compressor on and at a 3. Roger?
Engaged at a 3, compressor on and at a 3. Roger?
That is Roger. Compressor on at a 3. Over.
Roger. Okay, now I'll move to your ALC with mic gain in hand. And as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is reading mid-scale to 2/3.
Your mic gain until your ALC meter is reading mid-scale to 2/3.
100, 200, 300, 100, 200, 300, and mid-scale to 2/3. Over.
Roger. Okay, now, do you know where your EQ page is?
Roger. Okay, now, do you know where your EQ page is?
I do. Hold on. Yes, I'm running treble of -1.
I'm sorry, George, you were stolen by gypsies. I got treble -1, and that was it. What about your bass?
Gypsies, I got treble -1, and that was it. What about your bass?
My treble is +4, and my bass is -1. Over.
All right, go ahead and pull your bass up to +1. +1 on the bass, and maybe plus an additional click on your treble EQ. So it'll be a +5 on your treble and +1 or 0 on your bass. I forget which that was.
+1 or 0 on your bass. I forget which that was.
Yes, I just adjusted my bass to +1 and my treble to +5. Over.
All righty, sounding pretty good there. Gosh, tell me something, give me a little amateur radio story, if you might have one in your repertoire.
Amateur radio story, if you might have one in your repertoire.
Yes, I was out of the amateur radio area for a number of years and got back in it, and one of the first contacts I had was Parks on the Air. And after I got off, I said, well, I'd probably like to do all the parks. Then I went and looked them up, and I just my pay grade, I think. Over.
Roger, Roger. I think we've got it there fairly well. We could do a little bit more on the bass end, but I think we'll just hold for now and call everything even. And I'd like to get a little bit more recording of you if I could, Roger.
I'd like to get a little bit more recording of you if I could, Roger.
I appreciate that. I have called you and talked to you just a couple of times over the last couple of years, and really do appreciate the job you do for us, especially with the SDR radios that are out today. Over.
Roger, Roger. Well, if you notice, our setup procedure is generic. We can set up almost any radio. Well, we can set up any radio that has, normal capabilities, Roger.
Any radio that has, normal capabilities, Roger.
Yes, and I think that's the nice thing about it is by keeping it, I call it simple, and I do well with simple. And I think as long as it's simple, it gives me something that I can work towards. Thanks. Over.
Roger. Well, as simple as it may be, we cover all of the necessary parameters because we take an unprocessed transmitter, which has an intrinsic 10 dB dynamic range with an average percent of 30% of average peak modulation, and we, through our setup, we convert that to a transmitter with a 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of average peak modulation, Roger.
With an average 80 to 85% of average peak modulation, Roger.
Yes, I understand that. And how close to that am I, over?
You're dead on it, buddy. Yeah, you are 3 dB dynamic range. Your EQ, like I say, it's a little shy on the bottom side. We could make it heavier on the bottom side. But the thing is, and folks don't really think about it, but there is Mother Nature plays tricks from time to time with phase cancellations, and instead of bending the whole signal back at the same point in space, she bends half of it back at one point and another half at another point, and they come down, and the first thing to happen is that the top end gets out of phase because they were not bent from the same place in space, and so there's a slight time delay, and that is enough to get your phase angle out of keister with each other on the top end. And the first thing that gets nulled out is the high frequency content. And so here you have this beautiful bottom end, and you used to have this top end that balanced it. Now Mother Nature has taken that top end away from you, and you're left with Mr. Bassman. Roger?
Top end away from you, and you're left with Mr. Bassman. Roger?
Roger, I understand that. And right now I'm absolutely maxed out on the treble, and my bass is +1, so I think if that sounds good to you, then I'm in good shape, over.
Yes, sir, you're fine. You have a nice top end and a pretty good bottom end, and I would get the Gorilla Tape out and taper down. Roger?
Bottom end, and I would get the Gorilla Tape out and taper down. Roger?
Oh, I appreciate that very much, and I certainly, again, thank you for your service that you're doing for us each and every Friday, over.
Roger, my pleasure, sir. And if you would like to hear your recording, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 of 2,000 some odd QSO-VLOG recordings. Roger?
Be cut number 1 of 2,000 some odd QSO-VLOG recordings. Roger?
Roger, 73s, AB78C out.
Roger, and we shall have this uploaded by noon tomorrow. Should reach YouTube and be available by noon tomorrow. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. We're rapidly approaching 5 o'clock, and that time we turn into a pumpkin. So, if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Pumpkin, so, if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 4, Mike Alpha.
Uniform Golf Oscar.
Kilo 4 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Kilo 4 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Very well. This is Kilo 4, Mike Alpha.
Uniform
the name is Mike, and I'm located in Central South Carolina. Over.
Roger, Mike in South Carolina, and that's Mike Alpha station in Central South Carolina. And what radio are you running, Mike?
In Central South Carolina. And what radio are you running, Mike?
Okay, the radio here is an IC 7610, a 7610, using an AL1200 amplifier and a Heil PR781 microphone. Over.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, let's start with our setup procedure, if you would be interested. It starts with your compressor engaged at a 3. 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. I think the 7610, it would be a 3. Roger?
100. I think the 7610, it would be a 3. Roger?
Roger, and it is there.
Alrighty, now move to your ALC with mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC by way of mic gain control.
Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC by way of mic gain control.
Roger, 100, 200, 300, 100, 200, 300. Okay, that's around 60-70%. Over.
Yes, sir. Now I want you to go to your EQ page and tell me that's a 2-band EQ and tell me what those are.
Page, and tell me that's a 2-band EQ and tell me what those are.
Okay, just a second there. I'll get to it in a second. And the transmit EQ page for single sideband. My bass and treble both set to 0. Over.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, take your treble EQ plus 3 clicks from where it is. Treble EQ plus 3 clicks from where it is.
Yes. Treble EQ plus 3 clicks from where it is.
Roger.
Okay, and when you get that, come back, and why don't you tell me about 10 seconds and let me know what your antenna system is.
Tell me about 10 seconds and let me know what your antenna system is.
Okay, I doubled with you. What you want the base? What did you request for the base setting over?
Let's hold the base for just a moment. Why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system?
The base for just a moment. Why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system?
Okay, very well. Antenna system here is a dual band 40-80 meter double bazooka, inverted V configuration, and with the feed point up around 40 feet, and it is on a Roan 25 tower. I'm generally a VHF UHF guy, so all the real business end of the ham station is actually up above that antenna. But okay, back over to you. Over.
Roger, roger. Okay, on your center, slightly right, you have a button called Quick.
Center, slightly right, you have a button called Quick.
Okay, let's see where that is. Yep, got it.
Okay, Quick takes you to drive, and what's your drive setting?
Okay, Quick takes you to drive, and what's your drive setting?
I got to get out of the menu here, I believe. And the drive setting is, let me look at it there, at 50%, over.
All right, take your drive to 65. 65 on your drive, roger.
65. 65 on your drive, roger.
Roger, roger. 65%, over.
All right, tell me the best thing you like about your radio.
All right, tell me the best thing you like about your radio.
Well, it's got an awful lot of knobs and buttons, and it's kind of, I really enjoy the dual watch. Having had a Pro 3 prior to this radio, I was no stranger to dual watch, but boy, let me tell you, working DX, especially split operation, this thing is a breeze. Over.
Roger, roger. Now, what mic are you using?
Roger. Now, what mic are you using?
Okay, this microphone is a Heil PR781.
Roger. Would you happen to have now? You're not doing badly. You're doing good. But if you had a windscreen, a foam windscreen to slip over that mic, it would just be the absolute perfect thing, Roger.
Mike, it would just be the absolute perfect thing, Roger.
Okay, got it. And I'll put one on order. Of course, that's got, oh man, that thing's like an inch and a half, inch and 3/4 diameter, so it's going to take a pretty good sized windscreen. Okay, well, if you say that I'm good, then I'll save these settings and we will carry on. Thank you.
Roger, Mike. I just wanted to play around for a minute on the bottom side of your EQ curve. If you would go plus 2 clicks additional boost bass EQ from where you are. Plus 2 clicks bass EQ from where you are.
Bass EQ from where you are. Plus 2 clicks bass EQ from where you are.
Okay, just a second. Okay, there we go. That's plus 2, and that's going to work out to be, about 40% positive, over.
Right, I'm not really sure, but you really sound good. So, but I would go back to my AOC and double check my level now, since we have been playing with the EQ quite extensively. Go back to your AOC with mic gain in hand and adjust your mic gain into your AOC as mid-scale to 2/3.
And adjust your mic gain into your AOC as mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, Roger. Yeah, it's a little hot there, so I'm going to bring it down, and 100, 200, 300, 100, 200, 300, 100, 200, 300. That is about, that's still a little bit hot. 100, 200, 300, there we go, 30% mic gain, over.
Okay, not interested in the mic gain, but how the mic gain affects the AOC, Roger. AOC is the most important thing.
How the mic gain affects the AOC, Roger. AOC is the most important thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It's about 30% mic gain, but the ALC is, in fact, right at 2/3, over.
Yes, sir. Excellent, excellent. And that's perfect. Get the Gorilla Tape out, taper down. If you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording. It will be cut number 1 of some 2,000 some odd QSO-VLOG recordings. And we'll have it posted by noon tomorrow. Roger? Recordings. And we'll have it posted by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Oh, perfect, perfect. And it's here it is, 5 o'clock. So 73, and again, thank you so much, and really appreciate it, fine-tuning the 7610. This is KK4MA, off and clear.
Roger, Mike 73, sir. Have a great afternoon, a beautiful weekend. And that will wrap it up for us. If you participated, wanted to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 of some 2,000 QSO-VLOG recordings. Now, there is another option. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word highlights, that will be another list of some of the more interesting conversations that we've had, not necessarily sequentially, but overall. So with that, we'll be jumping out of here and be returning this frequency to normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV, clear.